Plattsmouth, one of Nebraska's first communities, treasures its rich history but knows much of the story is yet to be written. Location was responsible for its beginnings, and location today points to inevitable growth as this river town again plays its role in the future development of eastern Nebraska and the entire region. Had the Ice Age not interfered, the Platte could have been the river Lewis and Clark explored from St. Louis. But a slowly moving glacier changed the Missouri River from its original route to Lake Superior and pointed it through South Dakota and along the borders of Iowa and Nebraska. The Platte River begins in the eastern Rockies and flows across Nebraska and into the Missouri in Plattsmouth, where the confluence of the two rivers is a powerful sight. The Platte was first called Nebraskier by the Oto Indians, which means flat. French explorers later used their word for flat, which is Platte, and the name remains. Lewis and Clark described the Platte as a wide and shallow river, 2/3 wider than the Missouri. The confluence of these two rivers was one of the most important landmarks for the explorers. Both rivers were important in the development of this community. The Missouri brought riverboats full of goods and settlers from the southeast, and the Platte served as the highway west. Although it proved to be too shallow to navigate, wagon trains and the railroad, and eventually the interstate, followed its basin through Nebraska. Today, much of the history of Plattsmouth and Cass County can be found in the Cass County Historical Society Museum. You can see pictures of the cattle trailed to market in Plattsmouth to feed the construction crews of 100 years ago. The stones for the structures they built, many of which are still standing, were quarried in the area. The impact of rail commerce is documented in the museum. Interestingly, rails were being laid in Cass County before a river bridge was constructed over the Missouri River. The first train engine was ferried across. As the railroad grew, it became apparent that Plattsmouth should become the county seat, beating out its rival Rock Bluff. Today, the village of Rock Bluff is nearly gone, but its memory remains at a stone schoolhouse which is maintained as a historical building and museum by the Cass County Historical Society. Construction of the Romanesque-style Cass County Courthouse was begun in 1891. Today, the majesty of this facility makes it a stop worth seeing for every tourist, even as the day-to-day business of running the county continues within its walls. With the trade of the entire county now coming to Plattsmouth, buildings began to sprout in the downtown area, which blossomed during the early years of Nebraska history. During a national race to modernization, many communities decided to bulldoze these aging buildings. When it became apparent many early architectural treasures had been lost in other towns, the residents of Plattsmouth realized their tardiness in modernization actually had saved its history, because many original buildings can still be seen in a tour of Plattsmouth's historical downtown area. The city's Main Street district is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, with 45 buildings listed on the National Register. Today, you'll find two local banks using period architecture to maintain the look of the historic downtown while updating the insides for 21st century commerce. There are also unique restaurants and antique stores to make an afternoon of browsing fun for day trippers. Busy Saturdays are a thing of the past for many towns in Nebraska, but not in Plattsmouth. People drive from Omaha, Lincoln, and across the river from Iowa to step back in time in historic downtown Plattsmouth. That trip across the river is a trip worth taking. One of the few remaining toll bridges spanning the Missouri River in Nebraska was recently purchased by the city of Plattsmouth. A multi-million-dollar renovation is planned to update the structure while maintaining its historic look for the traveler headed west. Browsing isn't the only possibility for day trippers. You can spend a pleasant day on one of the community's 3 golf courses. Although intent on a shot in the fairway, visitors will be thrilled by the layout of the greens in the hills of Plattsmouth. Modern trails for golf carts and beautiful clubhouses make the day complete. If the day stretches into several, bed and breakfasts are available for those wanting an early start on discovering Plattsmouth historic places, parks, and festivals. There is much to do in Plattsmouth. Heritage Days starts the tourism season with a bang. Attendees dress in period costumes to highlight the rich history which made the community what it is today. The state's oldest harvest festival is the Cass County King Corn Carnival. It dates back to the dark days of the 1930s when financially strapped farmers needed a break. Through the years, the emphasis on corn is not as great as it once was, but the celebration continues with a parade of floats through the downtown area. Residents and visitors line the streets. Local bands march by with perhaps not 76 trombones, but the marching brass does hit the noonday light to the delight of the crowd. In addition to the parade, the adults can wander through the displays of quilts and other homemade crafts, while the kids find other fun things to do. The family can then come together for pancakes and other interesting foods, or opt for the more traditional carnival fare. Tourists can leave the festivals and wander through the parks in the area to discover early train history, or check out a log cabin home for the first settlers. In addition, the Chamber of Commerce hosts other events to involve the community and out-of-town guests. The Cruisin' Main Street Car Show is one of the best. Thousands attend as either car owners showing off their hobby or enthusiasts looking at vehicles from other eras. This event grew practically overnight from 4 to 5 cars to a packed downtown with close to 300 vehicles. It runs like a well-oiled, 66 Toro. Economic development is important in Plattsmouth. However, the challenge for growth in the area is not if it will happen, but when. Local planners are hoping to preserve local heritage, architecture, color, and a small-town feel, while opening the door to new businesses and industry who want to call Plattsmouth home. As industry and new residents weigh the advantages of Cass County, one of the strengths immediately obvious is the school system. Children are walked through their education with a combination of solid educational theories of the past and the tools of today. Opportunities for both study and extracurricular activities are made available to all students in both the public and parochial school systems. The construction of a new community center provides out-of-school options for kids and adults. This center will house both a senior center and a workout facility which will be tops in equipment. Local leaders like the idea of children's programs in close proximity to the activities of older residents. The Plattsmouth Library is also a center for children and adults. Its forward-thinking statement of purpose stresses outreach to the community and the entire county. Their many firsts include books with radio transmitters to allow for an easy inventory. Strong local industries mean secure jobs for residents. Whether it's concrete and construction businesses or transportation and engineering firms, many companies call Plattsmouth home. Industries continue to look at Plattsmouth, particularly as the Wiles Commercial Park and Tincture Development are created. This exciting area is attracting a long look as future businesses seek an area in which to prosper that is also close to Metro Omaha. Their future employees can seek housing in either the historic homes of Plattsmouth or relocate in one of several housing developments such as Beaver Lake or Buccaneer Bay. You'll find more than historic buildings in Plattsmouth. This is a growing community with a small-town feel. Many people plan their Sundays around church in Plattsmouth. Each denomination is represented, giving many different options for worship. One interesting trend in Nebraska is the migration back to the state by retirees. Plattsmouth is no exception. Here you'll find assisted living and nursing care facilities for those retirees who no longer want to maintain their own home or who need special assistance. Waterford at Woodbridge is one of 3 assisted living facilities. One of the older in the state is the Nebraska Masonic Home, and not far away is Golden Living Center, Plattsmouth. If you choose to visit or move to Plattsmouth, be prepared for the 3 P's: progressive, positive, and personal. Plattsmouth is a growing town with a small-town feel that cares about its citizens, its businesses, and most importantly, its future.